Here's a little Feldenkrais lesson that will teach you how your floating ribs and awareness of them can help you breathe better. So, first of all, floating ribs are just the two bottom ones, and they're only in the back. They don't wrap around to the front. So just see if you can feel, like I'm doing on myself here, can you feel your lowest ribs? So just see if you can feel the two lowest ones, which are the floating ones, and maybe one or two above that. And the most important thing here is to kind of differentiate with your hands between where you feel the muscles of your low back, and then you go up a little bit and you start to feel ribs a little higher up. So this is the area that we'll be thinking about in this lesson. The bottom sort of 3 or 4 ribs. So it just can be helpful at this point at the beginning to just feel them with your hands. And to remind yourself, okay, down there in my low back, it's just muscles and of course your spine. And then you come up higher and you begin to feel ribs. So it's that area that you're just giving yourself the information right now. That's where it is. All right. Lie on your back, please. Have your feet in standing. And just pause for a moment on your back. Get a sense of the contact you make with the floor. How close is your low back to the floor in this position? Does it touch? Is it a little away from the floor? What's the angle that your pelvis is resting? Notice your breathing. Where do you move as you breathe? All right. Bring one hand to rest behind just above your low back, if you can. And begin to press into your hand with those ribs. So just kind of notice, as soon as I invite you to do that, how do you start to form the image of yourself? Do this a few times. You form the image of yourself pressing into that hand and then letting go. And notice how your whole self participates in this. Pressing towards your hand and then letting go. And your hand is approximately near those floating ribs that I talked about a moment ago. So you press. How do you change the shape of your whole rib cage to accommodate this? Pressing into your hand gently and then letting go. All right, and just let that go and pause for a moment. Notice, do you sense a difference between your left side and your right side just from those few movements you just did? And now bring your other hand to do the same thing on the other side, but notice how it's a little different. So obviously the first hand was your first choice. This is not your first choice. And begin to press into your hand. So you're pressing those lowest ribs and the area around there toward your hand and then letting go. And notice how you do this. Do you press through your feet? Do you engage your abdominals? How do you use the floor to get what you want in this moment, which is to press these lowest ribs into your hand and then to let go? So we're always using the surface we're on to get what we want. Notice, how do you do that in this moment? And see, can you use less and less effort each time you do this? All right, and then just pause for a moment. Sense now your left side, your right side. Now, put your hand, the first hand, behind your back again, somewhere near your floating ribs. And press those lowest ribs toward your hand and stay there for a moment. And as you stay there, think of, as you inhale, using your breath to sort of press those ribs more towards your hand. So as if your ribs are made of like hot metal or soft plastic, and you could actually use your breath to sort of weld your ribs like you would hot metal toward your hand, toward the floor. As you inhale, and you're kind of hanging out in this position for a moment, so you might be pressing through your foot. Just easily with the breath, not forcing anything. Maybe find a slightly different position for your hand, a little higher, a little lower, closer to your spine, just wherever you like. And again, press through so that you're pressing into your hand, and then the next few inhales, use your breath to sort of weld your ribs toward your hand, toward the floor. Your breath is sort of helping out here. Just easily with your breath. All right, and let all of that go and just rest. And bring your other hand behind your back. Press those ribs toward your hand. Hang out there for a moment as you think of using your breath to sort of weld your ribs toward your hand. Weld those ribs toward the floor in that area. Just easily with your breath, not forcing it, not 100% of your capacity. And then just every now and then you come out of the pressing into the floor and you just pause for a moment. And then again, you can sort of arrange your rib cage so that you are pressing into that hand, taking a few breaths easily. And it's as if the breath can weld those ribs toward your hand, toward the floor. And maybe choose a different position for your hand. It's a little higher or lower, wherever you like. And pressing that part into your hand, using your breath. All right, and then rest. You can lengthen your legs if it's really easy for you, or keep your feet in standing. And simply observe the quality that you rest with now. And observe your breathing. What do you sense? Is there something a bit more sort of global about your breath? Are you more aware of this area that we've been talking about today? Does it feel as if you maybe have a little more capacity to breathe in and out easily? All right, and sort of keeping that nice quality of breathing, bring yourself up to sitting. And just sit for a moment. Observe yourself in sitting. Observe your breathing. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please like and subscribe down below. And you'll also find a coupon below for my 14-day breathing course. Take care.